Hello, sixth graders, and welcome back. For this portion, we're going to focus on the Cubism approach. So, for Cubism, we'll be looking at Pablo Picasso's work. Now, Pablo Picasso worked in several different styles. He had a neoclassical style in his early years. He had a rose period, and then gradually transitioned into Cubism. So he had several different stylistic periods that he went through his artistic journey. The main one we're going to focus on, and he's probably best known for, is his Cubism approach and being part of that group. So let's take a look at his guitar. Notice how it's very distorted, it's very shattered, but there's a wide range of values from light to dark that are used in the work. On the right side is a student example of a shattered image inspired by Cubism. So for this lesson, I'm going to show you how to break up your composition, your grid, so that it looks like a shattered image, and I'll show you which art elements that we'll be focusing on. So let's take a look back at value. So previously, the apple or pear that you did, it was the graphite approach. You used a gradation, you had a light source from light to dark. Similar to this example of the sphere, the main two things I'll focus on for 6th and 7th grade are the value scales and gradation. So we're going to sort of combine the idea of gradation with the smooth transition from light to dark, dark to light, and value scale where you jump from one value to the next. We're going to combine those two different techniques for our shattered image. Another thing I want you to think about is color theory. Remember in a previous video I said we're going to focus on warm and cool colors. So as a quick review, warm colors are yellow, yellow-orange, orange, red, and red-violet. Cool colors are yellow-green, green, blue-green, blue, blue-violet, and violet. So let's take another look at the examples, the student examples. Sorry, just one sec. Okay, there we go. So the student examples that we saw previously, I showed you a pear example, I showed you an apple example, we've already done the graphite. Now we're going to focus on the Cubism approach. Notice with the Cubism approach for pears, the pear, the student used cool colors, so green, violet, yellow-green. And for the background, the student used warm colors. But if you're working with an apple, you can use warm colors for the apple, yellow, orange, red, violet. And you can use cool colors for the background. Now notice that these students added a table and a background space. We're not going to worry about all that. We're just mainly going to focus on the fruit. Okay, so to get started, you'll need a straight edge. I have a ruler. And all you simply have to do is draw your lines going across, cutting across your image. So take your pencil and start to rotate your ruler. And I would say add at least 6 or 8 different lines, as long as you have that entire space shattered. Okay, so once I've done that, now I'm ready to go in and start adding in my gradations according to my color scheme. So as mentioned before, for the pear, I want to go in using cool colors. Now to create my gradation, I can start on the left side, I can start on the right side. It really doesn't matter as long as I shade from light to dark or dark to light. So I'll go in here and I'll focus on one space and I'll start off by shading dark. And when I shade dark, I'm applying a pretty decent amount of pressure. So creating value scales and gradation, it's all about the amount of pressure we apply. So if you do have color pencils, you can use a variety of colors inside of the pair. You could use a light blue. Let's say I shaded in one direction before, I can shade in the opposite direction for the second time around. Okay. Now, before we were focused on a light source. For this example, our light source is going to be all over the place. So we're not worried about making sure that our left side is dark and our right side is light. You just go in different directions. And once again, if I'm working with a pair, I'm using cool colors. And then once I work on the background space, I switch. I was using cool colors on the pair. I'm going to use warm colors for the background. So I'll start off with heavy pressure and then barely touching the paper, getting lighter. And the trick to color pencils as well is just simply layering and blending, creating a smooth texture, gradually going from dark to light and light to dark. Just continuing to fade that out. So I would go with a variety of different colors that fit in the warm color family for the background. Now let's say that you do not have color pencils. You could use your graphite pencil. So don't even worry about color theory. If you don't have access to color pencils, you could just use your number 2 pencil. Grab a graphite pencil. And I can still do this effect using graphite. And graphite means that number 2 pencil. So I can still press down hard and gradually get lighter and fade it out. So you could do the entire composition that way if you did not have access to color. Okay, I could do that here, I could do that in the background, creating gradations throughout the entire piece. So let's say I went from dark to light here, I could do the opposite direction. And the next one. Using the side of my pencil, I like to kind of twist my paper around as I'm working. Whatever is more comfortable to create that technique. Okay, so once again, we're not really necessarily worried about lighting source. The light can come from different directions. If you are working with a pair, the pair would use cool colors, the background warm colors. If you're working with an apple, the apple is warm colors. Excuse me. The apple is warm colors and the background is cool colors. All right, so that's the Cubism approach if you decide to go that route.